Well, welcome back everyone. I am Amy with AmyAstro. It's so nice of you to join me here today. For those of you who don't know me, I do tutorials, I do gear review, and I build telescope rigs. So this week we're going to go to the viewers for their questions. I receive questions all the time, but I've got a couple here that it would actually be easier for me to explain everything with a video. So this week we're going to talk about Sequence Generator Pro. And I'm really glad that you all are here, and let's get to the computer and see what the questions are. So my first question today in Sequence Generator Pro is, in Sequence Generator Pro, how do I get my images to save to different locations when I have multiple targets in a sequence? Well, that all has to do with this section right here and how we name our files. Alright, so let's start with the directory, the overall directory that we want this entire project to go to. And we just hit the Browse button and we find our place that we want them, and I put them in a directory called YouTube just for you all. But this is my base directory, and when we come down here to this % file name, we're going to define some subdirectories to go underneath that will help us get some organization. And we're going to do that by using backslashes. Now in Sequence Generator Pro, they have this nice little key right here, and if you press it, it tells you all the different possibilities that you can build your directory structures and your file names. And you come down here, it says directories can be inserted as part of the pattern. So they're using backslashes. So let's use this and build ourselves a semi-directory here. Let's say I want for event 1 to have the target name in it. So I'm going to say %TN for target name. But I want that to be a directory, so we'll add a backslash. I also want it to be in a directory underneath there, broken down by lights, darks, and flats. So that right here is FT, your frame type. So let's do a %FT. Now underneath frame type, if you have a filter wheel, you'd probably want to have them broken out, your light files with all your LRGB, your HA, sulfur, oxygen. So let's find our filter name here, right here. That is %FE. So I'll type in %FE and backslash. Now, some folks, if you're taking like photos of, let's say M42, and that's the Orion Nebula, and we know that image works better if we take multiple exposures. But I really don't want one directory underneath here of all those different exposures mixed matched. So I have to pick and choose which one I'm working on. That gets kind of cumbersome. So let's break this down one more time into our exposure time here. So we've got exposure length, and it's broken out by seconds. And you can also do it right here, exposure length by seconds. I don't want to, you can have, right here, this one, they automatically put second at the end of it, and here they don't. So you decide which one you like. But I use the %EL, and I'll type that in now, %EL. Okay, so I don't think I need any more subdirectories for organizing this. I mean, if you're doing these things as multiple nights, you could add the dates and times. That's really great. But I think now I'm going to think about, how do I want my file named? Now typically I throw in the target name. I also throw in the exposure, the temperature that the camera's at. I think about my filter, I put it in there. I end up with a very long file name, but this way, if the files do get jumbled up for any reason, I know exactly what it is. So let's start with, now that I have my directory structure up here with backslashes. Let's talk about %TN for target name. And if you want, you could put a dash between the next qualifier, but that could be thought of as a negative. Or I use an underbar. Okay, so I've got my target name. I want to know, I'm going to know that it's a light file, chances are, or am I? It doesn't hurt. Let's go ahead and put in %FT, so it's going to give me my target name. It's going to tell me if it's a light, dark, or flat. And then I'm going to do an underbar and do a %FE for my filter name, no, FT, filter type, and I'll do a %. Since I have a rotator, I need to know what my rotation is, and that's in one of these here. I've got my focus position. I definitely need to focus. So let's go ahead and do that next. My %FP, so I know what my focus point is, so I can get my flat frames later on, because I focus with every filter. And let's see, we can do ambient temperature outside, but that gets to be too much. Let's see, frame number, I can have them count. I can put this up at the front where I have, in fact, let's go ahead and do that because that makes it really easy. This %FZ, let's put that at the start of our name. %FZ, underbar. So that's going to start with image 001 on M50, on M42, light file, my focus point. I think I missed something here. Focus point. For some reason I put in 2 FTs. Why did I put in 2 FTs? Come on guys, you got to call me out on this. Is that my filter? That's my filter name. Back up. Typo. Alright, so now that we've got that straight, my focus point, I need to know my rotation. Angle in degrees according to the rotator. That's this %AR. So I'll do an underbar, %AR, and then the last one I do is alright, and then the next one, if you change your gain and offset, you could always put it right here, or you could put in your temperature of your camera. I always do -10, so that's just a default. I don't need to know that one. But I can put my gain and offset in here. And if I scroll down here, one of these is gain right here. Camera gain, %GN, %GN. And notice it's going to give me my gain, which will be 139, and it'll type out the word gain right behind it. So you don't need to do that. And I'll do another underbar, and the other one is offset, which is this %CO, %CO, and it will put the word offset at the back. So this is a very long file name, but I'm going to press this little sunglasses here, and it will show me, there's my directory structure. It's in my YouTube directory, and then the next directory is my target name, and then it's going to be my light file, and I don't have anything programmed in my filter yet. That's why it says none. I haven't set my exposure time, so it's saying 0 seconds. But now is where I'm going to start my file name. It's 0001 is my first image with my target name, my filter, my light, my focus point, my rotation. They're all NAs because I don't have them programmed yet. And let's see, -500. What is this one about? Gain, offset. Oh, that's my rotation because I've got nothing hooked up right now. So it's just giving me some bogus numbers. My gain, my offset. %GN, offset, something's not right. Oh, that's why. Look at that, I put a typo in there. Okay, I put %GN, it's % right here, CG. CG, that looks better. Now let's look at the sunglasses. There we go. It's got the word gain in here, it's got the word offset in there. So it's just waiting me to fill out these values. But this is what my file name is going to look like. And the way it stays organized and not have everything dump into one folder, just the YouTube folder, is by using the backslashes. So really, you just come up with the combination that works best for you in your situation. You know how you take your images. So if you always take in a certain order, there's certain things you don't need to do. Having these long file names can be a bit cumbersome at times. Other times they can be very informative. So I'm going to leave that one up to you. But now that I've got this set up the way that I like it, if I don't want to type this out every single time, get rid of that. You can highlight them all, do a Control-C, copy them, and let's go up to our Equipment Profile Manager. And you find your profile that you want to change it. And all you have to do is copy it to right here, your file name and pattern. And you never have to do this again. Just that easy. All right, so that's how you keep your files organized and copied into different directories. And if I had multiple targets here, because I've got the target as part of my directory structure, it will dump into that new name. So that was it for that first question. Thank you so much. I appreciate you sending that one in. Let's see. My next question is, when using the Frame and Mosaic Planner, how do I create two targets in the same sequence? Okay, that's an easy one. We've got a blank sequence here. So let's go ahead and come up with a couple targets. Let's go to Tools, Framing and Mosaic Wizard, and let's just type in M42 and fetch it. Whoops. Let's do the first thing we need to do. Make sure under Profile that you're using the profile that you're going to image with. That way all of your scales and everything are already all set up for you. So let's hit Fetch. I'm going to close this out of our way, and it's going to pull up M42 for us. Now keep in mind, the version of Sequence Generator Pro I've got on here is from back in the fall. I have not updated my Raven scope, and that's because the Freedom scope has still been having issues with Sequence Generator Pro, unfortunately. So they've added a lot of cool things, but I've still got some hiccups. So this one is running great, so I just kind of left it in the background. All right, here's our M42. It's really, really bright. Let's find our histogram here, and let's darken it up some just so we can see what's going on. There we go. All right, so all I have to do now is draw my window and frame that up. Let's just frame it up like that. Let's pretend we don't have a rotator, and this is going to be my image. Now all I need to do now is say Create Sequence, and I'm going to call it Orion Nebula. See, just because I had M42 does not mean that has to be my name. All right, and everything here is left at default, and I will say OK. So success, I have created one new target. And there it is, just what we wanted. But I want a second target. And let me show you what button you want to make sure is pressed to get that second target in here. Go back to Frame and Mosaic. Let's do a search on M51 and do a fetch and see what comes up on that one. Now really, when I'm planning my targets, I tend to have a lot of different targets here. And because I use that %TN, they all dump in their own directories. But you don't have to have one sequence per target. It's really easy having multiple targets in one sequence. And let me show you just how easy it is. Oh, there's my whirlpool. Let's go ahead and draw a window around it. That's going to be my next image. And everything here is exactly as it was before. I'm going to say Create Sequence. But here is the key. Append targets to sequence. So by appending it, I'm just adding this image to the next target in my sequence. Or I can replace all the targets in my sequence if I want this only to be the whirlpool. You take that choice. but I always append it and just add on, and everything else is left as default. So just remember, append, and you can have multiple planned out frame and mosaic targets in a single sequence. So there we are. I have my 2 targets, just like that. All right, so let's see what the next question is. It says, I made changes to my equipment profile. Why is my sequence not updating? Okay, the thing is with your equipment profile, when you first create your sequence, it goes out there and gets a fresh copy of your profile as it sits at this moment. And if I go into Tools, Equipment Profile, and I go back to the same profile and I change something, and let's say we go over to our focus control, because that's one that we can see. And I'm going to change, you can see right here my steps are 500 and 2500. Let's change this to 200 and let's save it. Now that it's saved, you're looking over here and saying, oh, why didn't it change? Well, it didn't change because your equipment profile only updates that very first time that you create your sequence. But there is a way around it. If you want to update this profile, as long as you're not running it, you can come up here and say File, Apply Profile to a Sequence. And now I'm going to apply this profile that we just modified and say OK, and apply it to my sequence. And now you can see that my steps changed to 200. But that's the only time your profile is ever going to update to this sequence. So if you ever make a change, you're going to want to do File, Apply Profile to the sequence for you to see the changes. Now, up here in this, let's see if I will hover over and give you a name. I think it's called the Control Panel. There we go. This is the window that you can change on the fly while you're running your sequence. But anything that you change in here does not change in your equipment profile. This is a set it and one and done, and you can change this a million times all night long, and this is what will change for you. I could change my focus from 200 to 500 and say, okay, let's close it. And over here, I changed back to 500. But if I go back to my Tools, Equipment Profile, and look at it, I go back to Focus, it is still at 200. It did not update. It's a one-way street. It only goes in one direction. So I'm going to change that back to 500 so I don't mess myself up next time I go out there imaging. Let's see. 500. And I'm going to save that and say OK. So I'm good for next time I go out there. But just know it's a one-way street. This only updates the very first time from your profile. After that, you're going to have to force it. Or if you just want to change things on the fly, you use this Control Panel button. And you can make all the same changes you do in your profile just right here. But it is a temporary change. Okay? And let's see. That was it. I just had 3 questions relating to Sequence Generator Pro. So thank you so much for submitting those questions. I do appreciate it. If you all have any questions, leave them below in the comments or follow me over there on Facebook as AmyAstro and ask away. I will do my best to answer them. If I need to do it in a video, I will show you in a video. And if I don't have an answer, I will call my other Astro friends and ask for help. And I might be able to put, the 2 of you guys together and help you get an answer for your issue. I hope you all enjoyed this video as much as I liked making it. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that alert bell so you know when I upload new Astro-related material. Don't forget to hit like and definitely share with your Astro friends. I do appreciate every one of you all. The great news is thanks to you, I am almost at 1,000 subscribers, which I never thought I would accomplish. So thank you. So if you have a question, ask away. You too could have a personalized video made just for you. So until then, you all stay safe and sound. Be careful out there. It's a crazy world right now. But hopefully you all are on YouTube and kicking back, relaxing, have a margarita, have a beer or two. So until next time, I am Amy with AmyAstro, and I'm wishing y'all some clear skies and great health. See y'all soon.